Welcome to my short 5 minutes or less review of God Hand. God Hand is a third-person action-adventure beat-em-up created from the now-defunct Clover Studio. This talent once again included the brilliant mastermind of many IPs we've come to know and love, Mr. Shinji Mikami, who served on board as the main director of the title. The title originally began as a small conversation to how the beat-em-up genre was shying away from traditional combat and how new innovative things could be done to revitalize the medium. We'll begin with the gameplay, which finds you in the shoes of Jean, the sole owner of what you'll be using to punch people's faces into outer space, the God Hand. Jean can perform a various layer of strung together kicks, flurries, and guard breaks that can cause various reactions from the enemies. Right in the opening levels, you'll notice right off the bat, the game does not waste time rearranging your skull in. Enemies can take you down almost relatively easy in tight situations. They can morph into demons, and they can adapt to the way that you play with an adaptive difficulty meter that judges your performance from level 1 to die mode. In theory, I have to say, this was one good implementation, and this was one implementation that Shinji Mikami is good at, because this system in God Hand makes you strive for risky rewards at a higher challenge, because you're awarded more money with each knockout and the higher adaptive difficulties. This gives you that burning incentives to try to rightfully master all the intricate depth that God Hand has to offer. Intricate would be the perfect word to describe God Hand. There's plenty of fundamentals and strategy that can be applied to the game, even though you can overlook some things like the shoddy camera and lock-on being subpar. These problems might be nuances, but what you'll care most about is the intricacy of the gameplay the most, the core experience and what you'll be learning in God Hand. Add in the roulette wheel, which can dish out glorious amounts of over-the-top pain, and you can see a lot of customizable ways you can enhance your skill set and move set for good measure. There's a scarce sense of hand-holding and a wealth of mastery that never gets tiring. The story in God Hand will be a short segment per this review. All you need to know is that it is whimsically stupid. If you go into this plot expecting only top class writing, then I will say prepare for disappointment. It's just that kind of thing you have to sit back, ingest, and laugh. From poisonous chihuahuas enslaving men, to Jean playing errand boy all the fucking time, to obese demon barons literally uppercutting people in the sky, you just can't help but laugh at all these wacky things going on that you can't take seriously as quality literature. It tries to have fun, and that's part of the charm. The music has a nice, varied arrangement that complements the game's silly nature in spades. You'll hear a decent blend of jazz, rock, and a degree of Motown funk that makes you feel like this was straight out of a 70s or 60s nostalgic trip. While the sounds were stellar themselves, the voice acting is laughably cheese. For every one-liner that Jean spouts or sexual innuendo that comes from the dialogue, it'll remain less compelling each time, but serviceable to the comedic effect of the brooding levels of machismo that happens. The graphics for the time wasn't the most terrible thing, yet you'll still get a small sense of some things appearing textureless. Gradual clippings happened throughout my entire playthrough through solid objects, and that truly and sincerely bugged me when they occurred. The main thing that you have to give Capcom some credit for, however, is that God Hand still stands the test of time when it comes to outstanding animation work. To see half of the things that Jean does with this engine and how the effects are used really paints a picture to the absurdity that happens blow for blow. The controls are a bit simplistic, but I will say it will be hard for new players to still get into God Hand, especially if you don't know what you're doing, because the game does not hold your hand. I'll have to say that the lack of a rotational camera with the left analog stick is a bit disappointing, since the aforementioned camera does not follow suit with your fluidity. You still get to pick and map movesets. Customizable controls are always a plus. God Hand is almost akin to a bouncer when it comes to the evolution of beat-em-ups. If you have the right amount of skills, you can have the cash to get in the club. However, if you get hit too many times, if you slouch on the enemies, and if you get surrounded, then you'll get thrown out. This is only a game where the hardcore may apply for this offering, and with various default difficulties, a wealthy fighting system, plenty of challenge, and a good 13-hour plus campaign, it leaves good replay value. Criticisms of the camera and lock-on might leave some people on edge. However, this is still easily one of the better beat-em-ups to date on the PS2, despite its problems. I give God Hand a solid letter grade of a B.